Falcons do? Rise up. Welcome to Rise Up Reactions, the show where we talk all things Falcons, NFL, Georgia sports, and in general the sports news of the day. I'm your host, Dr. Lee Denning, lifelong sports fan, and so far doing okay overall in the ESPN Pigskin Pick'em Challenge. 99.8th percentile. I've not done as well as I did in week 4, so I have gone the last 2 weeks 9-7 and 8-6. I think a lot of people were counting on some gimme games this past week that didn't turn into that. The Falcons upsetting the 49ers. I thought that could be a good game for the Falcons and one we could steal, but I didn't think we would actually win. Falcons played a complete game, and they showed me that we truly can compete with anybody. It doesn't matter who it is. We are going to be competitive, and we are not a team composed of stars, but just a team whose components all work together really, really well. And then you had an upset with Pittsburgh Steelers over Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Mitchell Trubisky having to come back and take over after Kenny Pickett goes out, leading the team to victory. Didn't expect that to happen with as bad as Pittsburgh has looked. And quite frankly, Tom Brady is looking like Father Time has kind of caught up to him here. So that's encouraging for the NFC South. And then you also had another upset with the New York Jets beating the Green Bay Packers. I believe it was in Lambeau, so that was genuinely surprising to me that happened. Breece Hall has come out and played incredibly well. Zach Wilson is not necessarily the guy getting it done for him through the air there, but they're finding a way to win on the ground here, and again, Breece Hall has turned into everything that they had hoped for as a early second-round pick. But it did hurt a lot of people's pick'ems. I think I probably would have been, if a couple of things had gone my way, I could have done better. But right now, 99.8th percentile, and we're just going to jump right into Week 7 here. So first off, teams that are on bye: the Buffalo Bills, the Minnesota Vikings, Philadelphia Eagles, and the LA Rams. So 4 teams with winning records right now are all on bye. So we still, again, will have a grand total of 14 games to pick from this week. We're going to start getting more teams on bye as we go into Week 9. And Week 14, which are the big ones. Next week, we only have a couple teams on bye, and Week 13, there's only a couple teams on bye. But we're going to jump right in. So, Thursday night football, Week 7, we have the New Orleans Saints at the Arizona Cardinals. Now, Arizona Cardinals will be without Brown. He got hurt, but they did just acquire Robbie Anderson after a very strange altercation with Robbie Anderson and the interim coaching staff, where he was traded for a 2024 and 2025 6th and 7th round pick, respectively, to the Arizona Cardinals from the Carolina Panthers. New Orleans Saints gave the Cincinnati Bengals hell in New Orleans, which I pretty much knew they would, but I thought the Bengals would come out on top in that one. Very close game where the Bengals had to come back to win it in a tough environment, but anyways, New Orleans is sitting kind of at the bottom of the division right now. But Arizona Cardinals are also not playing up to their potential, but they do get DeAndre Hopkins back. DeAndre Hopkins last year, when they played with him, they were incredible. When they played without him, they were terrible. And that's kind of been the trend so far. They really haven't been good, and they played about like they did without him last year. I am going to give a slight edge to the Cardinals since it is in Arizona. Short week for both teams, but it's in Arizona, and I think they're going to play a little bit better at home, getting DeAndre Hopkins back and getting the Kyler DeAndre Hopkins route going again. That'll really help them out. So give me the Arizona Cardinals. The way ESPN has this going into Sunday, the first game I have to talk about is the Atlanta Falcons against the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, only 8% of America right now is picking the Falcons to win. I think that's criminal. That is, at this point, maybe preseason, I can understand that. At this point, though, that's criminal. The Falcons have an incredible run game. The Cincinnati Bengals defense is not all that good. They are a middle-of-the-road defense, and we just ran all over the #1 rushing defense in the NFL and made them look silly. I think we're going to run the ball a ton. I don't think we're going to have to go through the air a whole lot here. We are going to need to put a ton of pressure on Joe Burrow, which has not been incredibly difficult this year. But that's the only way we're going to have a chance of winning this game is if Joe Burrow feels like he's under pressure the entire time. Because our secondary is not all that good, and he could pick us apart with 3 amazing weapons in T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, and Tyler Boyd. But I am now a believer in the Falcons. I think we can win any game that we go into going forward. We will be an underdog in almost all of them, but we have the ability to win any of them that we play. Give me the Atlanta Falcons here. We're going to go into the Bengals, and we're going to come out with a winning record. Go Falcons, rise up. Next, we have the Detroit Lions at the Dallas Cowboys. Now, Dallas looks to be getting Dak Prescott back at this point in time. He didn't play this past week. It was always kind of a question if he would, but he may be back this week. And even so, Cooper Rush is doing fine managing the game for him. Detroit Lions have no defense, and they just got shut out before their bye week against New England. The Dallas Cowboys defense, I would argue, is better than New England, so I don't look for Detroit to be all that good here. I had a lot of hope for them based on their offense, and I think they're going to score some points in this game, but I don't think the Detroit Lions are the team that can overcome the Cowboys in Dallas. I definitely give the edge to Dallas there, so I'm going with the Cowboys. 90% of America agrees with that. Then we have the Indianapolis Colts, where Matt Ryan finally remembered how to play frickin' football against the Tennessee Titans, who were just on bye last week. They still are atop the division, so this game has a lot of divisional implications. I do actually think that Indianapolis found a way to turn it on last week. Now, Deion Jackson, who was their backup running back, also got hurt in the game, but he had an incredible hookup with Matt Ryan throughout the course of the game with a bunch of dink and dunk passes. Jonathan Taylor, if he is back, he was a little bit questionable and ended up not playing last week, but if he's back, I give the edge to the Colts. And right now, I'm going to say Colts over Titans in Tennessee. I'm going to go ahead and give it to them. They're on a little bit of a tear here. I wouldn't say they're a good team yet, but they have found a way to win in situations that teams just shouldn't find themselves in. But I think the Colts are finally turning into the team that we thought they would be at the beginning of the season. Matt Ryan still has to prove it to me. One game doth not the amazing quarterback make. Tennessee Titans are still not great overall. They are going to lean hard on Derrick Henry. If Derrick Henry doesn't get going, they don't win. So give me the Indianapolis Colts. Then we have the Green Bay Packers at the Washington Commies. Green Bay is now on a 2-game losing streak to teams from the New York and kind of northeastern area. Washington, D.C. is not all that far from New York, so they're playing another team from that general region. The Commies, their offense is fine. It's okay. It's not terrible, but their defense leaves a lot to be desired, and overall, they're just not a great team. The Green Bay Packers, I think, are going to outcoach them and outplay them. They need to run the damn ball. That has been their problem. They had success against the Giants with A.J. Dillon and with Aaron Jones, and they got away from it in the second half. Otherwise, they'd probably win that game. And then they just never leaned on it at all. Now, is that Matt LaFleur just going purely for pass plays, or is it Aaron Rodgers audibling out of those plays and trying to be a hero? I don't know. But they need to be leaning more on their 2 stud running backs to see what happens this year. But I do give the edge to the Packers. 92% of America agrees with me. Now, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming off a bad loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers. They go to Carolina. The 1-5 Panthers have now lost another offensive weapon and really don't have a lot to show for it. It's a quarterback carousel there. Who's going to be playing? Is it going to be P.J. Walker? Is it going to be Jacob Eason? Is it going to be, oh God, who else do they have? Is it going to be Sam Darnold? Is it going to be Baker Mayfield? Who the hell knows, but none of them are playing well. Give me the Tampa Bay Buccaneers easily over the Panthers. It would surprise me greatly if the Panthers beat the Bucs. 97% of America thinks the Buccaneers are going to go in and slap the crap out of the Panthers. I tend to agree with them. Then we have what has turned into an incredibly competitive team, the New York Giants at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, Giants have not looked great in every game they've played. They've played from behind a large amount of the time, but they have found ways to win games where last year they would have lost. And the Giants overall are looking good. If they can lean on Saquon and if Daniel Jones continues to play competent football, they are going to probably do really well and earn a playoff berth. It's really hard to screw up 5-1 when you've already played a bunch of hard teams, taking out the Baltimore Ravens, taking out the Green Bay Packers, and now they go into Jacksonville. Jacksonville Jaguars have been reeling since an impressive start, and again, kind of like last year where the Carolina Panthers went 3-0, the Jacksonville Jaguars look like a fairly competent team. They're just not winning games, and I don't think that they're going to win this one either. I think the Giants are going to go in, and it's going to be a closer game than people are giving it credit for. But I think the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to be 2-5 at the end of this because we didn't think they were going to be a great team anyway. But it wouldn't surprise me if Jacksonville found a way at home to win this game in the hot Florida weather. But the Giants are playing good, competent football right now, and give me the Giants playing good, competent football over the Jacksonville Jaguars any day of the week. So yeah, I'm going to go with the Giants here. Then we have the Cleveland Browns at the 3-3 Baltimore Ravens. That entire division, the AFC North, is just tearing itself apart right now. Baltimore Ravens have found ways to lose close games so far. They've lost at least two after having leads in the fourth quarter so far. Cleveland Browns, until you get back Deshaun Watson, you're not going to be competitive. This is the hardest stretch you're going through. I don't think Cleveland wins a ton of games going forward. They may sneak one away from somebody here. I don't think it's going to be the Ravens in Baltimore. I think they're going to be incredibly well coached this week. I think they're going to have a chip on their shoulder. And I think Baltimore, they may not stop Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt from running a ton, but they're going to find a way to win the game. Baltimore Ravens, give me the Baltimore Ravens at home. Then we move into the 4 o'clock slate. We have two meh games. So the New York Jets against the Denver Broncos. Denver does not look good at all right now. Like, they are reeling. They lost last night on Monday Night Football, where they came out and started 10-0. They ended up losing the game 19-16 against the Chargers. Now, Chargers have found ways to lose the games too, and not saying a whole lot for them either. They're not a great ball team right now either, but the Jets are playing good football. They are running the ball. They're winning games very similar to how the Falcons are winning games. Except for I would say their defense is a little bit more solid than ours is right now, just from the ground up. I'm going to pick the Jets. I initially was going to pick the Broncos because I thought they were going to win. I thought they had a chance to win last night. I did pick the Chargers last night, but I thought they would play better than what they did, and Russell Wilson is just not cooking yet. Something's wrong with him. I don't know what it is, but something is wrong with Russ right now, and I don't know what's going on, if they need to change up the game plan a little bit, but it's just looking rough for them. The injury bug has also hit the Broncos. It is in Denver. It wouldn't surprise me if Denver, wins the game and starts turning their season around. But the Jets are playing competent football, and I can't take that away from them. This is really close to a 50-50 toss-up, but give me the Jets here. It's close. Then we have Houston Texans, who are now without their coach, Jack Easterby. Or was he the manager? I can't remember. Anyway, nobody cares about the Houston Texans. They're without Jack Easterby now. The fan base is happy. You got them going up against the Las Vegas Raiders. Raiders are 1-4. Texans technically have a better record, but it is in Las Vegas. Give me Sin City here. The Raiders, I think, have played closer games and played better against their opponents. I'm going to go with the Raiders over the Texans. I still think the Texans are playing for the number one pick overall, and the Raiders are still trying to turn their season around, and very well could. So give me the Raiders here. Then we have the last two games of the 4 o'clock slate. We have Seattle Seahawks at LA Chargers. LA Chargers, again, overall are playing pretty well. They're not great, but they are finding ways to win games here. They're 4-2. Seattle Seahawks 3-3. I don't think any of us thought that they would be 3-3 at this point. Much like the Falcons, they are playing good, competent football. Overall, their offense is much better than we thought it was going to be. They had a win this past weekend over the Arizona Cardinals, a division rival. I do like the Chargers at home. Not sure how much of a home game it's going to be at SoFi. As we know, the Chargers fan base does not really exist to the greatest extent yet, and Seattle travels well, but I do like the Chargers with Khalil Mack on the defense. I like them better than the Seattle Seahawks on the road, or with the Seahawks being on the road. So give me the Chargers over the Seahawks here. I think it's going to be closer than what America does. 87% to 13 are picking the Chargers. I think this should be closer to 60-40, honestly, but Chargers, I will give them the leg up here. Then you have the Kansas City Chiefs at the San Francisco 49ers. Now, the 49ers are still somewhat banged up, and the Chiefs are playing good football. They did just lose a close one to the Bills, which I would argue is possibly a future rematch. It was a rematch of the AFC divisional round last year. I think it will be potentially a preview of the AFC championship game this year. But man, that was a great game. These are two good teams that are finding ways to win. Kansas City still outside of Travis Kelce, doesn't have that guy that is just being a beast for them in the receiving core. I would like to see them spreading the ball more to a couple of guys to take some pressure off of Kelce. The 49ers, Brandon Ayuk had a great game, but they got shut out in the second half by the Falcons, which was a pleasant surprise for me. I am going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs here. They are being picked 87% to 13% against the 49ers. I will take the Chiefs here. Now, the Dolphins. Tua should be back. This is your primetime matchup. Tua in Miami against Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers still are not a great football team. I don't know why this particular game got billed for a Sunday night slate. This feels very much like it should be a 1 o'clock game. In fact, just looking through the games this week, if I had my choice, I would probably... God, these are all bad. There's nothing here that just screams out. I would honestly, though, say that Chargers versus Seattle should probably be, or the Kansas City versus 49ers should be the evening slate. That's not how they did it, though. With Tua back, I think it's a much more favorable matchup for the Dolphins. I'm not sure Tua should be back, but they are very much looking at him starting. He did clear concussion protocol on Friday last week and should start resuming football activities. Today's Tuesday. He should start resuming football activities today. We will see how he progresses. If Teddy Bridgewater is your quarterback, it's going to be a lot closer game. Right now, America is picking Miami 80% to 20% against the Steelers. Steelers did find a way to beat the Tampa Bay Bucks. I'm not sure the Tampa Bay Bucks are as good a team as people think they are, with Tom Brady showing father time here. But I'm going to go with the Dolphins. Even if Bridgewater plays, I'm going to go with the Dolphins. I think they're better from the top down, and it is in Miami, and we all know that Miami shows up for their football team. They will be playing at night, so they can't count on that heat index of 120 to 90 degrees, 120 being on the opponent's bench and 90 degrees being on their own home bench. This is not a 1 o'clock game. Not sure that's a really appropriate way to treat your opponents, but it is what it is there. So, yeah, we've got that going on for primetime football on Sunday night. Miami Dolphins, I'm going to take them. And then we have another just meh game for Monday Night Football. The Chicago Bears and the New England Patriots. This is really just a week of meh teams because you have 4 winning teams that are on bye here. Give me the Patriots. It's not even close here. The Chicago Bears still don't look like a good football team. They look like a team, again, that also could be playing to try and get number 1 overall. But give me the New England Patriots here. So that's my thoughts for the day. Let me know what you think down below. I haven't been getting a lot of comments on my actual YouTube channel. I've been getting them through Facebook and other things. I would really appreciate if you guys started leaving those down here. Consider liking the video. It'll help me grow. It'll help me engage more, with more people across the YouTube community. And again, I've really appreciated you guys, all your support so far. Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing as well. It'll really help me out too. But until next time, guys, that's all I got for you. And rise up.